it's me, Maxie Monroe, and I'm back on my mat, not on my couch. So, because our gyms in my community are still closed, they've decided to continue with closing the gyms until probably, I have no idea when they're going to open. So, I'm bringing more fitness to you. Hope you're enjoying them, learning something. I've got my water. I've got my mat, I've got some fitness equipment that I'm going to use. Most of the exercises will be done standing. The first one I'm doing is actually a Pilates exercise. Always remember, before you start any type of fitness, make sure that you are okay. So health-wise, fitness-wise, if there's any issues, always consult with a doctor if you can get to a doctor's office. And always start slow, especially if you're getting into fitness during this very, very, very tough time. So hope you're doing well. So in the first one, I'll go through each of the exercises. I'm going to introduce, I think, 5 or 6 exercises in this video. So we're going to actually target a lot of our body. So the first one is actually a row down with a push-up. It's actually a Pilates exercise. I'm going to do it on my mat. You don't need to. You could have a rug or floor. And I do have my runners on today because I'm doing some more of my strength training. So in this one, I'm going to be standing with my feet hip distance apart. I want to make sure that I'm using my breath in the movement. So the idea of this exercise, just if you want to observe, and I'll do a second one, I'm going to breathe in. And as I exhale, I'm going to actually nod my chin and just allow my body to roll down towards the mat. I'm going to touch my hands on the mat. Now, if you're not flexible, bend those knees. I'm going to walk my hands across the mat into a plank position, go down for 3 push-ups. And then I'm going to walk my hands right back to the position where I'm kind of bent over. The idea is that we're also warming up that spine. So we're kind of thinking about rolling down one vertebrae at a time, coming into that position, then going across the mat, and then kind of coming back after the push-up. So I'll do one more. Make sure you're breathing in. Exhale as you roll down nice and slow. Make sure to bend those knees. If you can't do a full push-up, you can also do a modified push-up. If you see, I've got my knees on the mat, and then I'm going to walk my hands back towards the starting position and just slowly, slowly, slowly rolling my body back up to the standing position. Okay, so for the next exercise, we're going to actually use our dumbbells. And in this one, we're going to be engaging our leg muscles and our shoulder muscles. It's kind of like going into a squat, then coming up, and then doing what we call a shoulder raise. Okay, so in this one, hip distance apart for your feet. Make sure that you are on stable ground. So I wouldn't recommend doing it on a mat. I'm going to just do it because I don't want to move my mat. So the idea of this exercise is you're going to actually go down into a squat. You're going to come up. You're going to bring those arms up into a shoulder, kind of an overhead shoulder press, and then back down. So what I like about this one is that I'm also engaging my cardio. I'm going down, I'm using my legs, which are glutes, quads, and hamstrings, to go down into that squat. Make sure you're breathing so your breath can be, inhale and then exhale here. You can actually do 2 breaths in this movement if you'd like. And as far as how many should you do, well, you can start small. You could do 10. For that first exercise, the roll down one, you may want to start with 2. And modify the push-up, especially if you find it difficult. And if you have any type of knee issues, especially for this one, be mindful when you go into the squat. So the idea of the squat, I'm going to do a side view, is you want to actually be in the position as my back is, coming down, using those muscles to come up, and then doing that shoulder press. Okay, so this one, you could do 1 set, you could do 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, and you can also increase your weight. I'm just using the 5-pound weights. Okay, actually, the next exercise, I'm going to keep my weights. So the one I just showed you, you could incorporate a bicep curl, but I'm just going to quickly show you the 2 different bicep curls if you're doing standing position. I've done different bicep exercises in a couple of my videos. So this one, again, you can do it so that it is actually in this position, or you could do it in what they call a hammer curl, which is this position. I would recommend doing 3 sets of 15 if you can, starting with low weights if you find that you can't do a heavy weight. You could also pyramid. There's a method of doing exercises for strength training, so anyone that is into fitness understands that with pyramiding you would start with a low weight and then you would increase it. You would actually have, you know, maybe the 5-pound weight at 15, you'd go to a 10-pound weight at 10, and then you may go to a 20-pound weight and do 8, and then a 25-pound for 5. So that's pyramiding. So that's actually to really work that particular muscle, really putting a lot of intensity. That will help with helping to build those muscles. Okay, so we did the bicep curl. The next one we're going to use, again, dumbbells. Now, if you have a home gym and you do have a barbell with weights like the plates, absolutely you could use it for the bicep curl. You could use it for this one as well. So we're just going to do a row. So with a row, the idea is, like I was showing you with the actual squat, you want your back to be in a position so that it's not really down this way. There are exercises for shoulders that way, but this one we're actually working the back. So in this exercise, we're just doing an easy row. I'm going to extend those arms out, and I'm basically bringing them back so the elbows are basically going past my back. And then you're going to breathe in here. Exhale. Now you can also flip the hands so they're like this and do the same row. Try to hold those abdominal muscles to protect your back. If you find that it's hard on your back to do this exercise, then what I would recommend is to sit on a chair, or like my stability ball, where you can actually sit down and then actually use that to stabilize, you know, your positioning. In this, you're actually putting pressure because you've got your body bent over. So that's a bent over row. Again, you could do 3 sets. You could start with 1 of 5. You could work up to how many sets you want and increase your weight. Obviously, the important thing with strength training is to challenge the muscles. So again, with the bent over, make sure that you're stabilized with the abdominals. That means you are engaging them as you row. Like for me, if my lower back is sore, I really am challenged to do this exercise in this position. I would actually use a bench or a stability ball to do it. Okay, in the next exercise, we're going to actually use our flex band, and this one actually is engaging legs. It's actually working more the inside of our legs and the outside of the leg. The idea of this one, and I taught it in Pilates, it isn't really a Pilates exercise, but because in fitness, I have lots of exercises I've learned over the years. I like to incorporate different ones that are easy to do from home. You don't need a lot of space, and you know, they're actually engaging some of those smaller muscles. So with this, the idea with this one, you're going to use a band to kind of stretch. So you've probably done exercises where you are kind of going into a side lunge. I always want to say lunge. And so in this one, you're using the flex band to basically go into that momentum. So I'm stretching as I go into the side lunge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate a front and a back. And again, I'm using my arms to stretch the band. So I'm also engaging some of my arm muscles as well. So again, you're going to go side to side for 2. And then you're going to do a front lunge and a back lunge with the same leg, and then switch legs, do the same front and back. And again, the one thing about this is you're going to get your heart rate moving at the same time, and you're also going to be working on balance. That's one thing with this one. If you're going to do it, start slow. So when you're doing a lunge, especially the front and back lunge, this one is always the hardest for anyone that is struggling with stability. So always remember when you're going down into that lunge that, and I've showed this before, that you're not tipping over, you're not allowing that knee to go over the ankle. You want to keep that knee in that position, almost like you're creating that, the square corner of a box. So always think about going down, keeping the knee right above the ankle. And the same thing when you're going back, doing the back lunge. Same thing, just be mindful about balance. And, if you struggle with that, then maybe modify it. Modifying could be just a slight lunge. Get used to the idea of practicing keeping the core engaged. Actually, that's what's going to help you with the balance. Okay, so that is that exercise. I've got just one more to show you. This one's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going to use a dumbbell. The idea of this exercise is actually to work your balance and also challenging my leg, my glute here, because in this, and I'll quickly demonstrate, I'm going to be on a solid ground. I'm not going to be on a mat. Especially for this one, you could fall over, you could hurt yourself, and I don't recommend it, especially if you're someone who struggles with balance or may have a condition like vertigo. You really need to be mindful of what you are capable of doing. So in this one, I'm going to put the weight in my right hand. The idea of the exercise is I'm going to go down almost like a pendulum effect, and then I'm going to raise the opposite leg to the opposite arm going down, and that's it. So the tough thing about this, even for me, is the balance. So if I have to concentrate doing this, and I'm trying to teach you, it's kind of a challenge because I have to make sure that my eye line is forward and also focus. That the whole idea of this exercise is that I'm engaging the glute, and I'm also working core because I'm going into that balance like that, okay? So with this one, I wouldn't recommend it to go full on. I think really practice with the idea that you need to make sure that, if you're gonna do the opposite leg to opposite arm, you'll see that even for me, one side is not as balanced as the other side, and that is normal. So just so you understand, I know when I'm training, I always like to do single leg exercises or single arm exercise because I find that will create more balance versus if you use a barbell and you're working, say you're doing a shoulder press. I find that one shoulder may be helping the other shoulder. So doing these exercises help me for balance. So again, when I'm doing this, remember, I've got my dumbbell in my left arm and my right leg is going back. And the idea is you want to really focus your attention on something to the front as you come down. If you find it hard to do that, you may even just want to lift your leg about there until you find the strength. Or if you have somewhere like a wall or a bar, maybe have it close by so that it will help holding and then going down. So that's it. I've got those exercises for today. Always make sure to have your water nearby. Just realized, got my water. And if you wanted to do a couple stretches, you could do your overarm stretches, such as this one I'm doing for the shoulders. I could also stretch my quad muscle and my hamstring by doing this exercise. I'm trying to keep these as quick and short as possible. Hope you're having a great week and you're staying well. Right now it's becoming tougher. We're getting into some of those colder days. People have to stay inside, and I know where I'm at, it's becoming interesting. So thank you for joining me on another fitness journey. Please follow me on Instagram, _Maxie Monroe. And I'm going to be also doing a second video today, probably on abs. And again, thank you for joining me, and please stay well.